my friends. Welcome to another episode of Dead by Daylight Reviews. And guess who's not gonna add the particular thing to a playlist like he's supposed to again? Me. I've made so many at this point that it's a pain in the butt to go back and add them all to a playlist. So, yeah, everything's unlisted, even though they're supposed to be automatically listed into a category. Yeah. Oh well. These things happen. Ooh. Today in the forum, we have Galanonims I'm going to be going over Sunday when he gets back. We have an idea for a collab from Lancer Kane, a chapter concept for the well, this is just an update on these two, and an idea for a collab. Which means I might actually be able to go over the colors for today. Exciting. Exciting indeed. Yeah. Idea for a collab. I'm going to assume this is going to be a contract for a killer and not two people playing together. Mortal Kombat. Killer. Interesting. Um, okay. Shao Kahn likes to have a trick up his sleeve, so he commanded his sorcerer, Shang Tsung, to create a replica of him that he can use to deceive the enemy. After his job was done, the Emperor himself tested it in combat. The dog could not match the real Khan and was quickly destroyed. Outworld and the Emperor were something the entity found interesting, and now it was its opportunity to have tasted it. The entity picked up the pieces of the fake Emperor before all of its power dissipated and managed to form a new servant out of them. There are absolutely... No, the power's down here. Okay. Perks. After stunning the killer, that survivor gets marked for X seconds, aka survivor gets exposed after stunning killer. Stop trying. Okay. Stop trying to make perks that as soon as you stun the killer or do any type of action towards the killer, you get exposed. Stop making perks like that. The killers that need that particular ability or anything close to that as add-ons and things like that specific to them. So the killers that need that extra boost gets the extra boost through add-ons. Every killer doesn't need to have the ability that if they get stunned by a pellet, the survivor's just exposed now for no reason. Because what's going to happen is people are going to stack that with very good add-ons from other killers and other perks that will assist them, and they'll just easily take the pallet stun, run like unrelenting, I think, or something like that, and then, you know, keep going about their day with the survivor getting marked because of it. Do not make perks that expose survivors for playing well. Not very savvy, not very good, not very anything else. It's like every 3 to 5 concepts has a perk like that to where, oh, if you do something, they're exposed. Blank mortal. Increase stun time while carrying a survivor by X seconds, but that survivor will not be released. Killers can push survivors aside while walking. So any survivor essentially trying to get a stun or anything to make you let their survivor friend go, you're just going to be increasing the amount of time that they get stunned. But as the killer's getting stunned, he's just gonna keep hold of the survivor. Then what's the point of stunning a killer? You know? You have 16 seconds by the time you pick the survivor up and start in motion to hook a survivor. If I get a stun on you and you're stunned for, let's say, 6 seconds, you still have 10 extra seconds to get over wherever you need to go. You're also getting rid of power struggle value, which power struggle has very little value as is, and you're essentially making it to where that perk's just going to have to be deactivated. Then killers can push aside of survivors while walking. Are you kidding me? Literally, this is just a killer that somebody had a salty time with survivors, and then they got on the forum like usual and started posting up things. Oh, well, they kept pallet stunning me. They're gonna get exposed. Well, they kept stunning me when I was trying to hook a survivor. I shouldn't be able to drop the survivor when I get stunned, and I should be able to move them out of the way because they're body blocking me. You will taste no victory. Reduce the in-game collapse timer by X seconds. If the killer closes the hatch, the remaining survivor will be taken by the entity. The in-game collapse is too much time. They shouldn't be able to have enough time to save that last survivor and escape. I think it's unfair. I did a good job and I camped and got this one person on the hook. It's not fair that they were able to save him and escape. Obviously, it's for a fast and quick end to the game to also make it somewhat fair for a survivor. The new ranking system goes off of the medals and the amount, how well you play. Doesn't matter how many survivors that you sacrifice, as long as you get, what you need to do and you play a good game, you're not going to derank. If you play a bad game and you're like an iridescent or something like that, yeah, you might derank, but it's hard to derank as a killer without being, iridescent. You can go all the way up to gold, and you really shouldn't be deranking that often. Maybe you have a bad game where you get gen rushed by a gen rushing squad or something. Every once in a while, you should not pip up or get the safety pips, but for the most part, you should at least get a safety pip a match, or you got like outclassed like horribly. Main power, and perhaps some of his moves. Dbd is not Mortal Kombat. You can't just say some of his moves is his main power. You actually have to have a balanced, reasonable power to implement into Dead by Daylight. Secondary power, and the reason I would like to have him in Dbd, ridicule. Shao Kahn will laugh or point, can be aimed, and someone can say one of his taunts. It's official, you suck, is that your best? Value, blah blah blah. Which could have an effect like giving survivors in a certain area a debuff, a buff to Shao Kahn, or even letting him use his hammer or some for some moment to one-hit KO them. You are a piece of steak on the grill, son. An overcooked piece of steak on the grill. What do you mean you want a troll killer that's sole purpose is to talk smack? Wow, survivors can't stun you without getting exposed. And if you're carrying somebody and you get stunned, you aren't going to be affected by it that much. You're not going to drop the survivor. The saves aren't going to happen. You're just going to have an extended stun time. Then you can push survivors aside while walking, while you're carrying a particular survivor. And then you can just end the, if you close the hatch, the remaining survivor just instantly goes away. You are literally a Jizen idiot. You are the epitome of an online Gen Z person. You get online, you get all of these OP abilities that make it to where survivors really can't do anything and play the game as to what it is, as for what it is. And then you want to talk smack and say, good nerd, I'm better than you are. Oh, you suck. Ha 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 ha. Well, obviously the only reason that you're winning is because you have an OP killer. This is the epitome of Gen Z. Lancer Kane, all I can do is shake my head for this particular idea. That's it. And yeah, this is the everyday Gen Z when you play any multiplayer game. Somebody goes and pays for the premium pay to win things, or one of them plays against somebody who's, new at the game or they have more experience. They spend the whole time using that experience against them and talking crap the entire time. The only difference here is, well, it's not going to be the same difference. What's going to happen is, if somebody who's not very good at the game tries to play this OP character and sucks, they're just going to rage quit every time. Just like Gen Z. Anytime you push back at them, they just run away. Ha ha, you suck. Ha 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 ha. I'm better than you. Ha ha ha. You start beating them. Oh, time to leave. I'm getting beaten now. See ya. My pride can't handle it. Bye bye. Drives me absolutely crazy. Yep, he's got 14 reviews and 0 applies. It's a good thing most people on the Dead by Daylight creation forums are nice people for the most part. They have enough temperance not to just straight up, destroy this man for posting something like that. They just generally just ignore posts like that. The only thing I would comment to him is delete this post. That's the only thing I'd send him. Just delete the post. You obviously don't need the power of creation in your hand. uh, heavily reworked Silent Waltz, altered iridescent add-ons to fit with Silent Waltz's rework. Replaced Hex Insight with Hex Hindrance, reworked Dexterous, Dexterious. Is it Dexterous? No, it's Dexterious. Am I crazy? Dexterous. What am I thinking of? No, it's dexterous. Yeah, 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 yeah. Using both hands. Yeah. Rework Scorch Hook Stygian. Reduced values of Boon Bonfire. Specified that Boon Bonfire cannot stack with any other action speed. Increasing effects. some some of this we went over. Some you actually changed. Interesting. I should open up two things. Heavily reworked Silent Waltz. Alright. While holding the power button, Silent Waltz will activate. While active, the bandit is able to move at 9.8 meters per second, so an increase in speed, for up to 3 seconds, which gives them almost 30 meters. Roundabouts. It's like 29 point, what, 6? 29.6? 29.4? No, it's 3 seconds. 8 times 3 is 24. 29.4. Oh, he wrote it right at the end of it. So there you go. 29 point. No. Yes. Yes. 29.4. Yes. Why do I keep questioning myself and making something into something that's not supposed to be? But a maximum range of 29.4 meters. You are right along at that 10 meters per second border that you don't really want to be faster than because it creates latency and lag problems. You are right at that 10 meters per second border. So anybody that isn't on the particular server that you are on, you are going to have latency issues. So just keep in mind that could be an issue for some people that play the game. Up to 3 seconds, so he can move 29.4 meters in about 3 seconds amount of time. Well, completely invisible. Hmm. Well, I mean, behavior will work on all the control effects and all of that. And how fast you're going. If it's like too fast, behavior will knock it down. Or if the control on the particular killer needs to be changed, they'll do that as needs to be done. So that's fun. While completely invisible, the bandit cannot see survivors during this time, but can see Killer Instinct, and our actual model will continue moving at its base speed in the direction it was going. Base speed's 4.4. Oh, he made the tear radius 32 meters. Interesting. Once the power button is no longer held or the 3 seconds are over, a silhouette of the bandit will appear where Silent Waltz was ended. So now the survivors can see the silhouette. Interesting. After 3 seconds, a bandit will appear at the place the silhouette was placed. There is no way to cancel this. When the bandit appears at the silhouette, a quiet noise can be heard within 8 meters of where she appeared. Silent Waltz has a cooldown of 10 seconds. But now it's on the other side of when you use this particular power to sneak up on somebody. You're going to run into the inherent issue of having to make a quick selection. Because if survivors can see the particular silhouette of the bandit, you also only have 3 seconds to get over into a usable position for silent waltz. So, I mean, it stops it from you being able just to hover right over a particular survivor. So you kind of have to teleport close, essentially, and then initiate chase. Which, I mean, as you said, it's a ambush killer. Well, as you said before, it is an ambush type killer. I see the overview has actually changed a little bit. And I mean, ambushes, especially bandit wise, you're generally set up an ambush in advance. And when somebody walks into ambush, you gank them. So, I mean, ambush wise, that's actually not too bad. You can set up ambushes seamlessly. You can move extremely fast to wherever you're needing to go. And then you can easily park yourself and then walk around the corner. There's a noise, so survivors do have, well, a noise and a silhouette. So if you do park behind a survivor where they can see the silhouette, they will have a little bit of time to escape. Which, I mean, you don't set ambushes in front of people, so that does make sense. You want to set your ambush up around the corner or something, and then immediately as you pop over, go in for the hit. The one thing I would, though, add in that we never talked about is as soon as you come out of Silent Waltz, well, one, make it to where it has to be an ambush style like thing. Because I mean, I have a whole completely different method to spin that, but I'm not going to go over that right now. I would give I would give your killer the undetectable status effect, since you have that chime that you are there and the silhouette's now visible. I would give it a benefit and I'd give it the undetectable status effect for a couple of seconds when you first come out. Just enough to where you can start moving. Because, I mean, the 3 seconds, as you're teleporting in and, you're there and you're able to get control over your particular killer, etc., etc. You don't want your terror radius immediately, slapping survivors and them to be able to immediately run. Because you do have that 3 second wait. So I would apply the undetectable status effect since you are alerting them that you're there. And if you do elect to get close to them, they can see the silhouette if they're paying attention. So I would give yourself the undetectable status effect for a couple of seconds so you can get the jump, on that ambush on survivors. What I'd also like to do is adopt your Silent Waltz into another killer. Like, what is it, SCP-143 Peanut? Or the Weeping Angels or anything like that. I think that would be interesting to be able to use this ambush effect, but only able to use it when survivors aren't looking at you. But Instead of it being, you can't move while this happens, be like, oh, I don't remember what the game is. What's the game? I can't think of it. God dang it. They won't shut up in the other room, so I can't think. Oh, it has to. Back for Blood. So in Back for Blood, the way the zombie spawns work is you can spawn anywhere as long as the survivors aren't looking at you. And that zombie spawn, mechanic that they had allowed you to spawn nearby or as close to a survivor as you could get as long as they weren't typically looking at you. And because this has a 3-second delay before you pop in, it could almost be a sort of ghost face light burn, except for you're using your vision instead of a flashlight to burn the silhouette on something that wants to teleport to you. So if you want to go for that, sneaky silhouette, placement behind a survivor, if they see you before you spawn in that 3 seconds, the silhouette gets burned, after a little bit of time, and you are prevented from spawning there. Either till they look away or, anything else that happens. They look away, leave, etc. Whew, etc. And I'm trying to portray this idea with people screaming in my ear. Give me 1 second. Christ. I think I explained it well enough for people to get, a sort of a gist on it. So you can walk around like a normal killer, but you can teleport and essentially sneak up on people like, the boogeyman or anything like that. As long as they're not looking at the area where you want to teleport in. And since you have the silhouette being seen to survivors, when you try to teleport directly behind the survivor, if they're not paying attention, or you teleport nearby, you get like a Michael Myers or Ghostface stance, where you're like right there and they can't see you, your silhouette, you can immediately teleport in and you can go ahead and start clapping cheeks. But if they do see your silhouette or anything like that, then it prevents you from teleporting. Obviously, the meta and the only thing they could do against that is have each individual survivor look in a different direction. So, if every survivor is only looking one way, that means multiple of them are going to have to be together, or one survivor is going to be fanning the crap out of his camera so he don't get snuck up on. In that case, you can easily just go to the side of a generator and then, go on around. Just catch them off guard because they're going to be fanning very frequently. That's one of the reasons why I said the undetectable status effect would be good here. Now, the cons of the power is you're not going to be able to use your power towards the end of the particular game. It's just not going to happen. If you get a 3-gen situation or anything like that, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get things done. If there's a generator out in the middle of the map where multiple sight lines can be used on it, you're not going to be able to use your power. Somebody's probably going to silhouette burn you from another generator. If you're on Cold Wind Farm, the cornfield might stop you. You're in the swamp. Good luck getting, very good uses out of that particular power unless you know hiding spots and nooks and crannies that you can use. So in the same aspect of, you can sneak up on people. In the same aspect, it can be foiled just as easily. Then, of course, you're going to have that iridescent add-on that makes it, almost instantaneous, like 1 second pop-ins. However, if a survivor, is looking at you, it instantly gets popped, and then there's a hellacious cooldown or something like that. Or when you're using your ability, your tear radius, your silhouette has a tear radius, but you can instantly teleport or something crazy like that, iridescent wise, to cut down on the slop. And other add-ons made to support this particular mechanic put on another killer. How this sits now, I mean, I see it being fine. I would add in the undetectable status effect or something like that for a couple of seconds when you very first come out, just to allow you, get your grounds and actually get that jump, that little bit of extra time before the ambush to activate it, instead of having to jump in and immediately go after it. You'll have some preparation time of a couple of seconds to figure things out. what else was reworked? Add-ons for Silent Waltz, Iridescent, Iron Orb. Well, that's not it. Iridescent Book. Silent Waltz has no cooldown, but when used while a silhouette exists, it will start where the silhouette is. Survivors are marked by Killer Instinct while using Silent Waltz as well, but while using Silent Waltz, the bandit moves at 4.6 rather than 9.8. I mean, essentially, halving the speed. I know it's not exactly half, but essentially halving the speed, I don't think is a equal balance to it having no cooldown and being able to chain silhouettes. You can literally just bang, and then bang, and then bang, and then bang, back to back to back to back. It also doesn't chain that well together, because if you don't add the undetectable status effect into the original equation, then all you have is a killer that can walk around at 0.2 meters per second faster, or regular killer speed, but as a silhouette. You're going to look like you have an after image following yourself. It's going to be very interesting. The bandit will never appear from the silhouette, but can attack survivors while using Silent Waltz. So yeah, it's just going to be an after image effect then. Yeah, this iridescent book is kind of broken. To be able to use Silent Waltz and be able to attack survivors and also get the killer instinct as well makes this killer way too OP. Because they would literally just see a silhouette. coming at them. Or even on the flip side, it could be used as a pseudo teleport if it goes the other way. So it's either going to be an after image or a teleport back to the last location. Either or. I don't know how I feel about that because that kind of also changes the function of the killer, of setting up ambushes and, things like that, being the bandit that sneaks around, knocking survivors down, etc., etc. Now it turns to an almost trickster by trade, not by actual Dead by Daylight killer. You turn into a trickster style thing where you can teleport to either your previous location or people are just going to be seeing after images of you as you use the power and as they get slapped. And then it says survivors are marked by killer instinct while using silent waltz. So I'm assuming that that just means in general, it's just a map wide like killer instinct mark like what Legion has. And to have that killer instinct marked while being able to attack while in silent waltz, or not having a cooldown and a whole bunch of other things stacked on, they can only move at base speed. I don't think that's fair balance for that much power. Yes, iridescents are supposed to be powerful, but not that powerful. But I do have time to start the different review of the individual killers that I want to do today. So, the final stats I'm going to leave on this iridescent book is balance it just a little bit more. Because that is insane to be able to chain power back to back to back to back. What else was change log? Looks like perks. Yeah, all the perks were done. Okay. Hindrance. While this hex remains standing, great skill checks grant 0 progression to a generator. I mean, when this hex remains standing, great skill checks grant 0 progression to a generator. That would be just an easy perk right there. When a survivor is hooked, this perk gains 1 token, maximum of 6. For each token, a good skill check results in a 2% loss in progress while repairing a generator for 3 seconds afterwards. Well, this is Old Ruin, essentially, but a little bit weaker. And they balanced out of that to New Ruin. So obviously, not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. Yeah, this is just Old Ruin. I miss Old Ruin, but I'm not gonna try and create a perk to bring the functionality of it back. Because behavior's already said that, hey, we don't like the idea of old ruin. There's X problem with it. Let's change it to new ruin. So, I cannot endorse said perk and say that it is a good perk because behavior has already deemed it not usable. For 3 seconds after vaulting a window, you move 10% faster. This has a cooldown of 40 seconds. This does not stack. Fine. Scorch Hook Stygian. Each time you hook a survivor on the Scorch Hook for the first time, this perk gains 1 token, maximum of 4. When a survivor is unhooked from a Scorch Hook, that hook is no longer treated as a Scorch Hook per token. You can see the ores of survivors for 1 second after they complete an action. One, your scaling shouldn't be on the maximum amount of tokens because your initial thing says each time you hook a survivor on a hook for the first time. So the max is going to be 4. Your scaling will probably be on the seconds. And 1 second for each action they complete. All of these small micro ore reads. Hook Stygian's gonna be a nightmare to balance. Because like always, you're gonna need a cooldown, and if you have a cooldown on it, you're gonna want to increase the time. But it's ore reading. This is why I don't ever recommend people to add ore reading into a particular perk, because it's a nightmare to balance ore reading perks to make it fair for everybody. Ghostface, if anybody or makes a rushed action near you within, like, I don't know, was it like they're 24 meters actually, if I think about it, you can see their aura for 6 seconds. That's a perk that they deem balanced and they put into the game. They have to be within X amount of range of the particular killer. The cooldown for that perk's like, what is it, like, I don't know, somewhere between 30 and 60 seconds. I ain't played Ghostface in a while. I don't remember the cooldown on that. But essentially, it does have a range limiting it, and it also has a cooldown attached to it. You are trying to implement this particular perk, which doesn't have a cooldown, but has a very slight 1 second Q, but it goes in limited range. That's not very good use-wise, because what's going to happen is any survivor that you end up chasing isn't ever going to be able to escape you unless they just lose sight of you and then hide somewhere. And they can't do anything else besides that. You know, dropping pallets, jumping windows, touching chests, touching totems, you know, interacting with lockers, any of the, or all of that is going to end up exposing them for 1 second. So it's pseudo small tracking of the entire map. 1 second might not seem like much, but when you have blips of 4 different people in the lobby doing a whole bunch of different actions, it's going to start stacking. And now it says as you complete an action, so I mean, if you're not getting any blips, you know that somebody's on a generator, obviously. But when they're not on generators, they're going to be blipping all over the place because they're going to be constantly doing different actions. It's just how the game goes. For the most part, if you're not just some dumb person just wandering around looking at the map or something, if you're not on a generator, you're essentially doing an action somewhere. So I really can't say that I am 100% behind this particular perk, the or perks of Stygian. It's just not, it's not very useful, but it's also the ultimate, hey, if I get in a chase with you, you're not going to be able to escape style of build. Especially if you run the perks together. The, what was it? Yeah, Dexterous and Stygian together. Good luck is all I can say is good luck. Um, Boon Bonfire and survivors within the Boon Totem's range gain the following effects. Cooperative action speeds are increased by 12%. This does not stack with other action speed increases. The aura of all other survivors within this boon's radius are revealed to you. I mean, so essentially, you have the aura of all other survivors within the boon's radius are revealed to you. That's essentially what you have going on right there. Anybody running Spine Chill or anything else, like all most of the low level people or low level lobby people run, they're not going to get any benefit from the cooperative action speeds buff on this particular boon. Because I'd figure Spine Chill would take precedence, being the grandfathered in perk. I mean, the devs might be generous and go back in and look at every single perk in the game and decide which one takes effect. However, I doubt they will. And if they try to take the lazy way out of just making a particular code, it'll break a lot. Just a scam. I love getting random calls. They called me at I think it was like 10:30, 10:45 last night too, talking about that. I'm like, really? You guys really gonna try to call and scam somebody that late at night? When you trying to catch me sleepy or something? They have no shame. But I mean, Boon Bonfire's fine. I mean, regardless of not, I mean, it's probably, if behavior takes this in and adapts this particular boon, one, it's gonna have to be stackable with all other action speed increases, or players just aren't gonna use this perk. There's no point in grabbing the perk if it only works with itself. A 12% increase in speed, and I can see all other survivors in the boon's totem's radius. Boon totem radius is only 24 meters, so I mean, you should know where all the other survivors are if they run into the particular radius. Generally, you're going to be using Circle of Healing or something else alongside of it, and you're going to be able to hear and or see a survivor coming in. So, I mean, in that type of thing, you could also just run Empathy and get the aura reading of the particular things, you know, the survivors that are injured and or the survivor that is in direct contact with killer. You can see where they're going and things like that. So the aura read on the particular boon's radius to only the other survivors that are in the radius doesn't really help that much. Because if you want an on-ground war raid, empathy tells you all the information you need to know. And if you want one where they're on a hook, you can use kindred, which tells you all the information you need to know. You shouldn't need any further information, besides that. Who's getting chased, where the killer is, and when somebody gets hooked, where the survivors are. Now, the cooperative speeds being increased by 12% is the only real benefit that this perk has. The ore reading's just kind of a passive to make it, not useless if there's any type of bumping of heads. So what behavior is going to do is they're probably going to knock that down to like a 4 or 5% increase in action speeds, like what Spine Chill gives, essentially. And they're going to take off the stacking effect, or it doesn't stack. They're going to make it to where it stacks. And that's going to be the end of that. It's the end of that. Now, as I talked about last time, or as we talked about last time, I just skimmed that to make sure I didn't miss anything new. But as we talked about last time, because of the new way behavior is implementing boon perks, if you want this to stack with other action speeds, this will have to be reduced. If not, I would just make it boon, what was it? We talked about it. I know it's down here. Yeah, prove thyself. Boon, prove thyself. If you just literally said boom, boon by fire, and made it the same effect as prove thyself. Term for term, item wider, speed for speed. Then it would be completely fine. Because that's what behavior has been implementing into the game. I could see it being nerfed down to 12%. So it's not just ridiculously stupid, but it kind of is what it is. You are still stuck within that boon totem's radius. And anybody running Boon Bonfire, the killer will have to actually take the time to go and take out that totem. I mean, if not, gens are just going to fly through. A 12% stack to everybody that's working on that particular generator. That's 48% increase, so about 50%. It would take 40 seconds. Well, it would take 44 seconds already. So you would be able to get a generator done in like, what, 22 seconds time? Well, no, because that would scale out. It wouldn't add. That's not correct. Everybody working on it drops the efficiency to 44 seconds. Prove thyself makes it to where you essentially are getting rid of the consumption. So it would drop it down to like right around 40 seconds. Maybe slightly a little bit more, but around 40 seconds. So adding another prove thyself in and stacking it with another prove thyself actually wouldn't take out but like maybe 8 more additional seconds off of that. So you would go from 44 seconds to like 35 to 36 seconds to actually do a generator with that. Because you would start getting value. If one proof dice cell takes it down like 4 seconds, another one would take it out of another 4 seconds. So 36 seconds, a generator. And obviously, that's if every survivor is working on that one particular gen. But the only thing that boon totem does is makes it to where any survivor that adds to that particular boon totem, it's either greater or equal to the amount of time. So it's not bad. Not bad at all. All right. Now, what I'm about ready to do is I'm about ready to cut this stream, come back in. I'll probably go to the start stream because I'm going to have to rename everything. And I'm going to pull up the killer screen and all of that from the Dbd perks. And we are just going to start covering them. Now, survivors. How we're going to recover or cover them in variance is from left to right. We're not going to go all the way down and get this awkward. Well, I guess I could go all the way down the left. It'd be, well, then the side list is kind of doo-doo. All the other, most of the unique killers are technically on the left. As Legion. But all the killers that have these long drawn out powers that you have to go over are on the right. I use unique loosely. Because I mean, you know, at the end of the day, trap, chainsaw, stock, blast, chainsaw, trap, you know, phase. Something nice. Infectious. Good boy. Shooter. Bouncer. Fuck boy. Times 2. And then on the end, you have, you know, long drawn out, taking a while to describe any of their powers. Everybody on the right. So I might just do a left, right, left, right, left, right. Yeah. Trapper will be, for the most part, easy. Wraith, I'll have to go into further detail. Hillbilly will be, for the most part, easy. Nurse, I'll have to go into further detail. Shape, I'll probably have to go into further detail on both of these. Yeah, I'll go left, right. So we'll go from Trapper to Wraith, the Hillbilly, the Nurse, the Shape, Hag, Doctor, Huntress, Cannibal, Nightmare, Pig, Clown. And we'll go from left to right. Alright, so I'm going to end this stream. I'm going to pull up the information that I need for the Trapper. I'm going to restart stream, and then I'm going to start a whole new series since I now have finally have time to get everything rolling. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm not going to be going over backstories or anything particular like that. So if you're looking for a full comprehensive guide over a special killer, I'm sorry. That's not me, brother. That is not me. All right. I'll be back in